Stephen Covey reveals a paradox. Your greatest power isn't controlling events, but controlling your response. Instead of blaming external factors, choose your attitude, words, and actions. This isn't just optimism, it's recognizing you own your life's script, regardless of the scene. Being proactive means you're the driver, not just a passenger. Ready to take the wheel. Discover true freedom. Full guide linked.
Seeing what you are conditioned to see. You've been told to see it to believe it. But what if that's backward? What if what you believe dictates what you see? Imagine two people looking at the same picture, yet seeing entirely different realities. Ignoring this fundamental truth means you'll keep hitting walls, frustrated why others don't get it. Today, from Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, we dive into the perceptual illusion. Many of us operate under unseen maps or paradigms that dictate our reality without us even realizing it. These mental models shape everything we perceive, understand, and interpret. To truly grasp this, turn to page 33 in your copy of The 7 Habits. Take a few seconds to look at the illustration, the famous young lady, old lady optical illusion. What do you see first? A young woman or an old one? You might think this is just a trick, but its implications are profound. Because now imagine someone next to you sees the opposite. Both of you are looking at the same objective lines and spaces, yet your minds create entirely different interpretations. This classic paradox shows how deeply ingrained our perceptions are and how conditioning shapes our view of the world. Our personal biases and past experiences aren't just subtle influences, they are the very lens through which we interpret every challenge. Until we understand that our maps are not the territory, we'll continue to struggle, attempting to change behaviors without ever addressing the root cause, our fundamental perceptions. This inside-out approach is the crucial first step to any meaningful personal or organizational change.
2. The roots of true success. Welcome to Audiobook Bites, your weekly dose of distilled wisdom. Today, we're diving deep into a foundational concept from Stephen Covey's timeless classic, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We're exploring a critical chapter, character versus personality, the roots of true success. This segment focuses on distinguishing between superficial personality traits and foundational character principles as the bedrock for enduring effectiveness. Historically, success literature often swung like a pendulum. For centuries, it championed what Covey calls the character ethic, emphasizing virtues like integrity, humility, temperance, and courage. Think of Benjamin Franklin's pursuit of moral perfection, a lifelong dedication to deep-seated principles. Here's the catch. Sometime after World War I, the focus shifted dramatically. It veered towards the personality ethic, a more superficial approach centered on public image, quick-fix techniques, positive mental attitude, and communication skills. It promised success through outward polish rather than inner substance. Many of us have tried these quick fixes, haven't we? We've attended workshops promising to unlock charisma or master negotiation tactics. We might even see some temporary gains. But this approach is fundamentally flawed. Therefore, it leaves us perpetually chasing symptoms without addressing the disease. Covey makes it profoundly clear. The point is, you'd still be lost. The fundamental problem has nothing to do with your behavior or your attitude. It has everything to do with having a wrong map. You can try to be more organized, more friendly, more assertive, but if your underlying beliefs about yourself and the world are misaligned, those efforts are like building a magnificent house on shifting sand. Covey argues that true, lasting effectiveness stems from a deep alignment with universal principles, the character ethic. These aren't cultural norms or trendy opinions. They are natural laws. The bucket brigade. Principles are like lighthouses. They are natural laws that cannot be broken. They exist whether we acknowledge them or not, and their consequences are inevitable. Companies like Patagonia, for instance, don't just talk about environmental responsibility, they embody it in their core operations, their supply chains, their labor practices. This deep commitment to values is their character, and it's why they command fierce loyalty and respect. Contrast this with a company built on the personality ethic, like a startup with an impressive facade but no real product, or one that sacrifices integrity for rapid growth. It might shine brightly for a moment, but often crashes, leaving behind a trail of disillusioned customers and employees. You might be thinking, but changing deeply ingrained habits and perceptions sounds incredibly difficult and slow. And you're right, it is. It requires sustained, intentional effort. But it starts with recognizing that crucial space between stimulus and response. As Covey reminds us, between stimulus and response, man has the freedom to choose. This capacity for self-awareness, conscience, imagination, and independent will empowers us to actively re-script our lives, moving beyond the external conditioning that says, we see the world not as it is, but as we are, or as we are conditioned to see it. So how do we begin? By analyzing our past attempts at self-improvement. Did they truly address who we are and what we believe, or just what we do? Identify personal values that resonate as timeless principles: honesty, compassion, integrity, service. These aren't fleeting trends. They are the fixed points on your compass. Imagine waking up tomorrow, consciously choosing your response to every challenge, grounded not in impulse or external pressure, but in those unwavering principles.
Imagine a day where every interaction builds trust because your actions are deeply congruent with your values. The bottom line, real success isn't about looking good, it's about being good, from the inside out.
3. Rewriting your internal code. Welcome back to Audiobook Bites. Today, we're diving deep into the power of paradigm shifts, rewriting your internal code, a foundational concept from Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Think for a moment. Have you ever experienced an aha moment, a sudden flash of insight that completely reshaped how you viewed a long-standing problem? It's as if a switch flipped, and what once seemed impenetrable became clear. This dramatic shift is precisely what Covey calls a paradigm shift, a fundamental change in how we see things. Too often, we get stuck trying to fix outward behaviors or attitudes, like furiously trying to paddle a boat with a hole in it. But it gets worse. These efforts, no matter how strenuous or well-intentioned, are often futile because we're operating from a faulty mental map. As Covey profoundly states, the point is you'd still be lost. The fundamental problem has nothing to do with your behavior or your attitude. It has everything to do with having a wrong map. True, profound change isn't about adjusting the leaves. It's about striking at the root. We constantly interpret the world through our own unique lenses, shaped by our experiences and conditioning. We see the world not as it is, but as we are, or as we are conditioned to see it. This means our problems aren't out there. They're a reflection of our internal paradigms. If you're struggling with recurring challenges in an area, be it relationships, career, or personal habits, it might not be a lack of effort, but a fundamental flaw in your perception of the situation. Consider the historical shift from the Ptolemaic geocentric model to Copernicus's heliocentric one. It wasn't about slightly adjusting the calculations of planetary orbits. It was a radical change in the very center of the universe. Once that fundamental paradigm shifted, everything else, from astronomy to navigation, transformed. The implications were enormous. Now, critics might say, this sounds too abstract. How does changing how I see things actually do anything? Here's the catch. A paradigm shift is not merely an intellectual exercise. It's deeply emotional and deeply personal. It's about consciously choosing to examine your core beliefs and, if necessary, re-scripting them. Covey tells us, if we wanted to change the situation, we first had to change ourselves. And to change ourselves effectively, we first had to change our perceptions. Imagine waking up tomorrow and consciously deciding to view a long-standing workplace rival not as an adversary, but as a potential collaborator with different strengths. You're not just faking friendliness, you're genuinely seeking to understand their perspective. This isn't a superficial technique. Therefore, your attitude and behavior towards them would spontaneously transform, opening entirely new avenues for resolution and synergy. You gain the power to break free from old, ineffective scripts. The bottom line, real change doesn't start with what you do, but with how you see. 4.
Balancing production and capability. Welcome back to Audiobook Bites, where we distill the profound wisdom of essential reads. Today, we're diving into Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, specifically focusing on the critical concept of the goose and the golden eggs, balancing production and capability. Covey introduces us to a timeless truth drawn from Aesop's fable. Most of us chase the golden eggs, the immediate results, the big sales, the quick wins. This is what Covey calls production, or P. But often in our relentless pursuit of these eggs, we neglect the goose, the very source that produces them. The goose represents production capability, or PC, the assets, resources, and systems that enable us to achieve those results. Here's the catch. True effectiveness isn't just about getting those golden eggs. It's about maintaining a delicate, intelligent balance between P and PC. Think about a high-growth tech company pushing its employees to work unsustainable hours for rapid product launches. Those initial golden eggs of market share and revenue might look shiny. But if the goose, the human capital, the team's well-being, their creativity, and their health is neglected, it eventually gets sick. Burnout, high turnover, declining innovation. The very source of those golden eggs is destroyed. You might be thinking, but my job demands constant results. I can't slow down for PC. Critics might say this focus on capability is a luxury, not a necessity in today's cutthroat markets. But Covey would counter that our problems and pain are universal and increasing, and the solutions are always based on universal, timeless principles. Many people operate with a wrong map of effectiveness, believing that endless P without PC is sustainable. The point is, you'd still be lost. The fundamental problem has nothing to do with your behavior or your attitude. It has everything to do with having a wrong map. Therefore, our first step to increased effectiveness must be to redefine our map of success. Evaluate a current personal or professional project. Are you prioritizing short-term gains, P, over the long-term health and sustainability of your goose, PC? Identify an asset in your life. It could be a physical tool, your personal finances, or crucial relationships. Are you adequately investing in its production capability? Imagine waking up tomorrow and every project, every relationship, and every personal goal has been nurtured with a conscious PPC balance. Your tools are maintained, your financial principle is growing, and your relationships are strong and resilient. That's a profound transformation, not a temporary fix. The bottom line, principles are like lighthouses. They are natural laws that cannot be broken.
From dependence to interdependence. Welcome back to Audiobook Bites. Today, we're delving into Stephen Covey's timeless masterpiece, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, specifically exploring the maturity continuum. This crucial concept guides us through a profound developmental progression, from dependence to independence, and ultimately to the highest state of interdependence. We all start life dependent, relying on others for survival. Think of an infant, entirely sustained by caregivers. But as we grow, we strive for independence, the self-reliant state where we can stand on our own 2 feet, capable and inner-directed. This is where many self-improvement paths halt, advocating personal mastery as the ultimate goal. Indeed, becoming truly independent is a massive achievement, freeing us from external control and allowing us to choose our responses. It's about embracing Covey's powerful truth. Between stimulus and response, man has the freedom to choose. This freedom forms the bedrock of habits 1, 2, and 3, our private victories, which cultivate self-awareness, personal vision, and effective self-management. Here's the catch. Many believe independence is the peak, but it gets worse. In an interdependent world, pure independence can actually become a limitation. Critics might say focusing solely on yourself is practical, a necessary safeguard. But Covey argues that in the complex tapestry of life, marriages, teams, global markets, true effectiveness demands more. You might be thinking, what about my self-worth? I feel great when I achieve things on my own. Reflect on areas where you might still be dependent on others' opinions or circumstances for that self-worth. If your feelings of value fluctuate with external validation, then, as Covey stated, the point is you'd still be lost. The fundamental problem has nothing to do with your behavior or your attitude.
It has everything to do with having a wrong map. This wrong map prevents genuine, lasting effectiveness. Therefore, the ultimate state is interdependence, where independent people voluntarily combine their efforts, leveraging collective genius to create far greater synergy than any individual could achieve alone. Imagine a high-stakes project at a leading tech firm like Apple or Netflix. If the various departments, engineering, design, marketing, all operate purely independently, brilliant individual contributions could still lead to a fragmented product. But when truly independent, self-mastered individuals choose to combine their unique talents, openly share perspectives, and align toward a common shared goal, the outcome is revolutionary. Consider a goal that requires collaboration, and honestly assess how your current level of independence might impact it. Do you bring strength to the table, or are you still seeking external validation? Interdependence isn't about weakness. It's a conscious choice made by strong, self-aware individuals. It's the ability to say, we can do it, we can cooperate, we can combine our talents and abilities and create something greater together. Imagine waking up tomorrow consistently approaching every interaction, every team meeting, every family discussion, with the mindset of building on a foundation of independence to achieve true interdependence. The results would be exponential, not additive. The bottom line, true effectiveness transcends individual self-reliance, blooming when strong characters choose the synergistic power of interdependent relationships.
6. Be proactive, taking charge of your life. Settle in for an insightful deep dive into Stephen Covey's seminal work, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Today, we unpack Habit 1, be proactive, taking charge of your life. This isn't just about initiating action, it's about cultivating personal responsibility and the profound freedom to choose your response to any stimulus. It's the ultimate responsibility. Covey introduces us to 2 crucial concepts here, the circle of concern and the circle of influence. Think of your circle of concern as everything you worry about, the economy, global politics, a colleague's bad mood. These are things you have little to no direct control over. But your circle of influence is different. It encompasses everything you can act upon, things where your effort makes a tangible difference. Proactive individuals, Covey asserts, are masters of this distinction. They pour their energy into what they can control, expanding their influence rather than being swept away by external circumstances or conditioned responses. Many of us are deeply scripted by a reactive mindset, constantly using phrases like, I can't, if only, or I have to. These aren't just words, they're unconscious declarations of victimhood. For a day, consciously observe your own language and the language of those around you. How often do you hear these reactive phrases? Then, try to rephrase them proactively. Instead of, I can't finish this report, perhaps, I choose to prioritize this other task over the report for now. Critics might say this is just positive thinking, a superficial band-aid. But it's far more fundamental. As Covey states, if we wanted to change the situation, we first had to change ourselves. And to change ourselves effectively, we first had to change our perceptions. The wrong map in your head, the one based on deterministic thinking, is the real problem. We see the world not as it is, but as we are, or as we are conditioned to see it. Here's the challenge. Identify one frustrating problem in your work or personal life. Now, pause. Is this problem truly outside your control? Or can you find a first step within your circle of influence to address it? For instance, perhaps a team project is stalled because of conflicting priorities. A reactive person might complain about the lack of direction. A proactive person, however, might schedule a meeting to clarify those priorities, even if it wasn't their assigned role. They would be exercising their freedom to choose a response that aims to influence the outcome. This shift isn't always easy. It requires courage to step away from blaming external factors. But here's the profound truth. Between stimulus and response, man has the freedom to choose. Every time you choose your response, you strengthen that muscle of proactivity. You transform from a pawn to a player in your own life. The bottom line, principles are like lighthouses. They are natural laws that cannot be broken. Align your actions with them, and you steer your own ship.
7. Begin with the end in mind, your personal mission. Welcome back to Audiobook Bites, where we extract potent wisdom for peak performance. Today, we delve into the heart of self-mastery with Stephen Covey's Habit 2, Begin with the End in Mind. This isn't just about setting goals. It's about personal leadership,
creating your life's blueprint before you lay a single brick. Imagine yourself 3 years from now. You're walking into a funeral home, the air hushed, a soft melody playing. As you approach the casket, you realize it's your funeral. Now, settle into a seat. There are 4 speakers, a family member, a friend, a colleague, and someone from a community organization you served. What would you want each of them to say about you? Your character, your contributions? What achievements would you want remembered? Take a moment, feel the weight of those words, and jot down those desired reflections. Here's the catch. Most people are so busy climbing the ladder of daily demands that they never pause to ask if the ladder is leaning against the right wall. You might be efficient, busy, perpetually in motion, but are you moving towards a destination you truly value? The book emphasizes, the point is, you'd still be lost. The fundamental problem has nothing to do with your behavior or your attitude. It has everything to do with having a wrong map. This habit asks us to design that map first. This mental creation, this blueprint of your desired future, is your personal mission statement. It's more than a to-do list. It's a declaration of your deepest values and long-term goals across different life roles, as an individual, a partner, a parent, a professional, a community member. It's about what you want to be and what you want to do. Critics might say, but life is unpredictable. How can I plan everything? But this isn't about rigid scheduling. It's about developing an internal compass. Therefore, when chaos hits, you navigate from fixed principles, not fluctuating emotions. Think of visionaries like Apple's Steve Jobs. Their products weren't just efficient, they were the physical manifestation of a clear, unyielding vision. By consciously defining your end in mind, you tap into your unique human endowments, self-awareness, imagination, and conscience. You prevent others' agendas, circumstances, or old habits from writing your script. If we wanted to change the situation, we first had to change ourselves, and to change ourselves effectively, we first had to change our perceptions. Your mission statement is that foundational shift. It's the ultimate proactive act. The bottom line, personal leadership demands you define your destination before you begin the journey.
8. Put first things first, managing your priorities. We've established the foundation of proactivity and envisioning our desired future. Now it's time to build. Habit 3, put first things first, is the practical fulfillment of habits 1 and 2, the moment where personal vision and leadership transform into tangible action. To truly master self-management, we must understand how we spend our time. Covey introduces the powerful time management matrix, a grid that divides all our activities into 4 quadrants based on 2 critical factors, urgency and importance. Urgent means now, demanding immediate attention. Important, however, contributes to your mission, your values, your highest priority goals. Most people live in quadrant 1, crises, pressing problems, deadline-driven projects. They also often escape to quadrant 4, trivia and busy work, for relief. But the secret to sustained effectiveness lies in quadrant 2, activities that are important but not urgent. This is where proactive planning, prevention, relationship building, recognizing new opportunities, and sharpening your own saw reside. Here's the catch. Quadrant 1 acts on you. It screams for attention. But quadrant 2 requires initiative, choice, and independent will. You have to act on it. Many pursue efficient schedules, but Covey warns, the problem is that our modern culture says, go in earlier, stay later, be more efficient, live with the sacrifice for now. But the truth is that balance and peace of mind are not produced by these. They follow the person who develops a clear sense of his or her highest priorities, and who lives with focus and integrity toward them. Critics might say, I'm already overwhelmed. How can I make time for non-urgent tasks? But this very mindset keeps you trapped in the urgent. Therefore, the key is to carve out time for quadrant 2. It's an investment, not an expense. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a clear weekly plan, where your most important goals, your relationships, your personal growth, your long-term projects are already scheduled. No longer reacting to every ping, but purposefully creating your day. This shift, from day-to-day crisis management to weekly principle-centered organizing, liberates you.
Think of it like a business. Many companies run on daily crises, constantly putting out fires. But the most successful, like Apple, thrive because they proactively invest in long-term vision and innovation, quadrant 2, even when immediate demands are pressing. They don't just manage, they lead by putting first things first. Here's your audiobook bite challenge. 1. Visualize your own time management matrix. Honestly estimate what percentage of your time currently falls into each quadrant. Where are your urgent crises? Quadrant 1. Your important, non-urgent tasks? Quadrant 2. The urgent but unimportant interruptions? Quadrant 3. And the sheer waste? Quadrant 4. 2. Identify just one quadrant 2 activity you've neglected. Perhaps deeper relationship building with a loved one, a crucial skill development, or long-term strategic planning. Commit right now to scheduling dedicated time for it next week. Put it on your calendar as a fixed appointment. This isn't just about getting things done. It's about building character and integrity. The bottom line: effective management is putting first things first. While leadership decides what first things are, it is management that puts them first, day by day, moment by moment. Management is discipline, carrying it out.
9. Building trust in relationships. Welcome back to Audiobook Bites. Today, we're delving into a concept from Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People that fundamentally reshapes how we view our connections: the emotional bank account. This chapter introduces a powerful metaphor, treating trust in relationships much like a financial bank account. Just like a financial account, we make deposits and withdrawals in our relationships. Deposits are acts of courtesy, kindness, keeping commitments, and seeking to genuinely understand others. On the flip side, withdrawals come from discourtesy, disrespect, breaking promises, making assumptions, or ignoring someone's needs. A high balance in this account signifies high trust, paving the way for open communication and true synergy. But it gets worse. A consistently overdrawn account leads to defensiveness, strained interactions, and walking on conversational eggshells. Covey emphasizes that if we wanted to change the situation, we first had to change ourselves. And to change ourselves effectively, we first had to change our perceptions. This rings true for our emotional bank accounts. Many attempt quick fixes with personality techniques, but these only lubricate the surface without addressing underlying issues. Therefore, genuine character building, starting with our own integrity and understanding, is paramount for lasting trust. Critics might say this is overly simplistic, arguing that complex corporate dynamics demand more than just deposits. But consider a tech giant like Apple. If a manager consistently micromanages, overlooks employee contributions, or fails to clarify expectations, these are withdrawals from the team's emotional bank account. Innovation, engagement, and loyalty will plummet. But a leader who makes deposits through genuine empathy, clear communication, and keeping promises builds a robust EBA. Therefore, that team will thrive on trust, collaboration, and a shared vision, even amidst intense pressure. Take a moment now to assess the balance in your own emotional bank account with 3 key individuals in your life, perhaps your spouse, a direct report, or a close friend. Here's the challenge. This week, identify and make one conscious, genuine deposit into each of those relationships. It could be truly listening without interruption, fulfilling a small promise, or expressing sincere appreciation. Imagine waking up tomorrow, deliberately choosing to make deposits. Visualize the profound shift in openness and cooperation this could create in just a few weeks. Consider the long-term dividend, a reservoir of trust that weathers any storm. As Covey reminds us, principles are like lighthouses. They are natural laws that cannot be broken. The bottom line: true trust isn't a gift. It's a diligently built asset, accumulated one thoughtful deposit at a time. 10. Think win-win. The paradigm of mutual benefit. Now we transition from the personal realm of self-mastery to the crucial domain of public victory with Habit 4, Think Win-Win. This isn't just about a fair compromise, it's about cultivating a mindset that constantly seeks mutually beneficial solutions in every interaction. It's a fundamental shift, moving beyond the idea that if one person wins, another must lose. Think about a recent negotiation or conflict you faced, perhaps with a colleague on a project, or a discussion with a family member about shared responsibilities. Did you find yourself instinctively trying to win the argument? Or maybe you conceded, resulting in a lose-win for you,
but leaving you feeling resentful. Many people operate from what Stephen Covey calls the scarcity mentality, believing there's only so much to go around. They approach interactions as a zero-sum game, leading to win-lose, lose-win, or even the destructive lose-lose, where both parties suffer. Here's the critical insight. True effectiveness in interdependent relationships demands an abundance mentality. This is the conviction that there's enough for everyone, that collective creativity can yield outcomes far greater than any individual could achieve alone. As Covey wisely observed, we see the world not as it is, but as we are, or as we are conditioned to see it. Our conditioned perspectives often blind us to these abundant possibilities. The beauty of the win-win paradigm lies in seeking solutions where all parties feel genuinely good about the decision and are committed to the action plan. It requires a powerful blend of courage to express your own needs and convictions, and consideration to deeply understand the needs and perspectives of others. But what happens when a truly synergistic win-win solution simply isn't possible? This is where the concept of win-win or no deal becomes immensely powerful. Imagine you're negotiating a critical deal at a startup, say for a key supplier. You've diligently worked to understand their needs, expressed yours, but the fundamental terms simply don't align to create a mutual benefit. Rather than forcing a compromise that leaves both sides feeling shortchanged and undermines the long-term relationship, no deal allows both parties to walk away amicably, preserving trust and future possibilities. It's a decision to maintain integrity to your principles, rather than entering a lose-lose scenario disguised as a win. Critics might argue that no deal is a sign of weakness or an inability to close. But when a deal, job, or relationship fundamentally clashes with your core values, therefore, having the courage to say no deal is a profound act of self-respect and proactive leadership, preventing future pain and preserving the capacity for genuine win-win opportunities down the road. It ensures that principles are like lighthouses. They are natural laws that cannot be broken. The key is this: before entering any significant interaction, proactively define what a win looks like for all parties, not just yourself. Identify non-negotiable principles. Then engage with genuine empathy, seeking first to understand the other's position, their concerns, hopes, and even their fears. Imagine waking up tomorrow, free from that lingering resentment from past forced compromises, knowing you consistently pursue solutions that elevate everyone involved. That's the promise of win-win. The bottom line: to achieve enduring success in an interdependent world, you must consistently seek mutual benefit, for anything less is a long-term loss.
11. Empathy and synergy. Creative cooperation. Welcome back to Audiobook Bites, where we distill powerful wisdom for high-performance living. Today, we delve into the transformative core of Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, focusing on habits 5 and 6, empathy and synergy, creative cooperation. This is where we master empathic communication and learn to value differences, unlocking solutions superior to anything we could achieve alone. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood, isn't just about listening, it's about empathic listening. It's about listening with the genuine intent to truly understand, not merely to reply or to prepare your next argument. Think of it as putting yourself in another's shoes, seeing the world through their lens. This takes immense courage because it requires you to be open to influence, to suspend your own autobiography. Here's the catch: most of us listen autobiographically. We filter everything through our own experiences, projecting our narratives onto others. As Covey reminds us, we see the world not as it is, but as we are, or as we are conditioned to see it. This fundamental insight reveals why misunderstandings plague our relationships. When you diagnose before you prescribe, when you seek to understand before being understood, you create a reservoir of trust, what Covey calls psychological air. This isn't just a feel-good exercise, it's a strategic investment. Critics might say, but empathic listening takes so much time. I have urgent matters to address. But here's the crucial but therefore point. Trying to force solutions without genuine understanding often leads to resistance, resentment, and chronic problems that waste far more time in the long run. Therefore, by investing upfront in deep understanding, you build the trust and rapport necessary for swift, effective, and lasting solutions. Imagine a product development team at a major tech company. If the lead engineer doesn't truly understand the marketing team's user experience vision, or if marketing fails to grasp the technical limitations, they'll spend months iterating on a wrong map, leading to costly reworks and strained relations. Seeking to understand each other's core paradigms from the outset prevents this. This brings us to habit 6, synergize. Synergy is the magical outcome of valuing differences and combining perspectives to create solutions that are far greater than the sum of individual parts. It's the third alternative. Not my way, not your way, but a better way, a higher way that neither of us could have conceived alone. To illustrate, consider a family planning a vacation. One parent wants a serene mountain retreat, the other an action-packed beach adventure, and the children dream of a theme park. A win-lose approach means someone's dream is crushed. Compromise might be a mediocre blend that satisfies no one fully. But synergy, by deeply listening to and valuing each other's needs, fears, and hopes, might reveal a third alternative, perhaps a lakeside resort with both quiet nature and nearby attractions, or even splitting the vacation to honor different priorities while maintaining deep connection. The shared commitment to finding a mutually beneficial solution, born from empathic understanding, transforms potential conflict into a creative opportunity. The challenge is to move beyond the limited paradigms of win-lose or even mere compromise. It means genuinely believing that diverse viewpoints are not threats, but immense opportunities. As Covey said, the point is you'd still be lost. The fundamental problem has nothing to do with your behavior or your attitude. It has everything to do with having a wrong map. Synergy is about collaboratively building a more accurate, richer map of reality.
Here's your call to action. This week, consciously practice empathic listening in your most important conversations, at home and at work. Truly seek to understand before responding. Next, identify a situation where you currently face differing viewpoints. Instead of debating, engage with the intent to uncover a synergistic third alternative by truly valuing those differences. Imagine waking up tomorrow armed with the ability to dissolve conflict and co-create breakthroughs. Imagine the quality of your relationships, the innovation within your teams, and the profound peace that comes from truly collaborative success. The bottom line, empathy is the psychological oxygen that fuels synergy, allowing us to transcend our individual limitations and co-create an abundantly effective future. 12. Sharpen the saw. Balanced self-renewal and conclusion. Welcome back to Audiobook Bites, where today we delve into the empowering final habit from Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Habit 7, sharpen the saw. This isn't just another item on a to-do list. It's the very habit that makes all other habits possible, a commitment to continuous self-renewal across every dimension of our nature. Covey argues that true effectiveness hinges on balanced self-renewal in 4 key areas: physical, spiritual, mental, and social-emotional. It's a quadrant 2 activity, meaning it's important but rarely urgent, and therefore often neglected. Here's the catch. Many believe they are too busy to sharpen the saw, but this relentless focus on immediate tasks depletes their capacity and eventually leads to burnout. Therefore, prioritizing this renewal isn't a luxury, but a necessity for sustained high performance and a life lived in full. Let's break down how we can commit to this balanced renewal, starting this week. For the physical dimension, that means caring for our bodies through exercise, nutrition, and rest. This week, I'm committing to a 30-minute brisk walk every morning, breathing in the fresh air, setting a positive tone for the day. It's not just about fitness, it's about invigorating the mind and spirit too. In the spiritual dimension, which provides leadership and anchors our values, I'll dedicate 15 minutes each morning to mindfulness meditation. This quiet reflection, as Covey would say, helps us connect with our inner guidance system, confirming that if we wanted to change the situation, we first had to change ourselves. And to change ourselves effectively, we first had to change our perceptions. For the mental dimension, which keeps our mind sharp through reading, writing, and continuous learning, I'm committing to reading 2 chapters of a nonfiction book daily. Imagine the new perspectives and insights that can unlock, keeping our thinking agile in an ever-evolving world. Finally, the social-emotional dimension focuses on building meaningful relationships through service, empathy, and synergy. This week, I will proactively seek to understand a colleague's challenges, practicing empathic listening without immediately jumping to solutions. It's about making deposits into that emotional bank account, fostering trust and genuine connection. Critics might say this sounds idealistic, another set of tasks to add to an already overflowing schedule. But here's the paradox. Neglecting these areas eventually creates bigger problems, forcing us into Quadrant 1 crises. By carving out time for renewal, we proactively reduce future emergencies, allowing us to operate from a place of strength rather than constant reaction. Covey reminds us that we are the instruments of our own performance. Picture yourself a decade from now, looking back. What legacy will you have built? What kind of person will you have become? Living life in crescendo means never retiring from meaningful projects and contributions, always seeking something higher and better. It's about expanding, deepening, and making your impact burn brightly. The bottom line? Principles are like lighthouses. They are natural laws that cannot be broken. By consistently sharpening our saw, we align with these timeless principles, ensuring our lives unfold with increasing power, purpose, and peace.